We're here at the Iowa State Fair, Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network booth, and of course we have Representative Randy Feenstra here, coming from the 4th District in Iowa, and we're also lucky to have the ranking member of the House Ag Committee, Representative G.T. Thompson from Pennsylvania, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. And so thank you both for taking the time to visit with us.
Oh, what a pleasure. It's great to be back at the Iowa State Fair. I've got two grandsons that were born in Congressman Feenstra's district, and so it's not my first rodeo at this fair, but it's an amazing state fair.
All right.
Oh, I'm always excited to come every year to see all the FFA, all the kids what they're doing, and the 4-H'ers, and just to see what Iowa has to offer. It's just amazing to walk through the different booths, to walk through the different areas, and just all these kids are so excited to be here and to show their animals.
All right, and Congressman Feenstra, we'll start with you. Obviously, you've been working hard to get some relief in the WHIP program for the derecho relief. Obviously, a year has now passed, and there are still work to be done and still funds that need to be accrued to help get that work done. And how are things going on that front?
Yeah, I tell you what, you think about that happened exactly about a year ago, and derecho took out over 40 to 50% of our crop. And it was the most expensive thunderstorm ever in U.S. history. So, we're working to get the derecho language in the USDA WHIP program. It passed the Ag Committee. It's on the House floor, and it's going to get passed. It sounds like it's going to get in the bill. It's going to be derecho and drought language, and it's going to be retroactive. So there's still about $174 million that are unaccounted for. And we're hoping some of those dollars that are unaccounted for can be used through the USDA WHIP program.
And Representative Thompson, for a situation like this, I mean, when you're encompassing on the committee agriculture across the whole country, but you look at something that happens isolated in Iowa, how do you get everybody on board to say, hey, just because it happened in Iowa doesn't mean this couldn't be something that you'll have to deal with in the future? I mean, how easy is it to get that support from around the country?
Well, there's no industry that's more vulnerable to weather than agriculture, right? And this is the industry that provides us our food and our fiber. And so it really, Congressman Feenstra has done a great job with his leadership. We were able to accomplish that because of that background, because of what happens. July 27th, we passed the WHIP Plus bill out of the House Agriculture Committee. Whether it's storms, wind events, polar vortex, smoke taint from impacting commodities specifically out in the northwestern United States. We were able to put all that into this WHIP Plus bill, extended that disaster relief into 20 and 21. Now, we did it in a smart way. We never want to compromise crop insurance, right? And so we made sure that crop insurance was held harmless within this effort. And I'm proud to say that it passed unanimously. Yeah, it took a lot of work to get to that point. And this is the man that kind of started us out back in January when we originally approved WHIP Plus out of the House Agriculture Committee, sadly only to have the House Democrats on the Rules Committee remove it. But I agree with Randy. I'm looking forward to this being on the floor. We get this to the Senate, and quite frankly, we get this to the President's desk. It's overdue.
All right. Another thing, we're going to be here at the State Fair tomorrow honoring those family farms that have been around for a century and a half. That's a big deal here in Iowa, but it's also thrown up a lot of question marks we're hearing from people who are visiting around here is, what is this going to mean for the future of us? We're talking that stepped-up basis and talking about those tax reforms that are coming. Obviously, some people are saying, hey, the billion-dollar companies, they need to be paying some of their share, but it's not the same on Main Street in rural America, and it's not the same on the family farms.
Yeah, I would like to echo, G.T. Thompson, the ranking leader right now in the Ag Committee. Hopefully he'll be chair in the next year and a half, because you have things like this. When you have stepped-up and basis in jeopardy, that's shameful. Here we have, we still have family farms in Iowa. We're going to, celebrate them tomorrow. And for me, that's what it's all about. We all grew up on a family farm. We want to keep our family farms. And it's just, to me, devastating when you have these large corporations, large companies vertically integrating, buying our land, and then all the way through the whole process. And I think that jeopardizes a lot of things in the agricultural system. So I'm very passionate about everything I can do to make sure that we have a tax structure where family farms can continue to exist and grow.
And of course, this is not just an Iowa issue, it's across the country issue.
No, it certainly is. I'm really proud of the House Agriculture Republican, I like to call us farm team, because that's what we work like. We work hard and we're on the job from sunrise to sunset. We kind of threw some grit, some sand in the gears of the Biden administration on this proposal. We reached across the Capitol. Senator John Bozeman, who's a ranking member on the Senate Agriculture Committee. And so together we sent a request to Texas A&M Food and Policy Center. Great group. They're known to do great analysis on agriculture and rural America initiatives to look what the impact will be. And they looked at 100 farms. They looked at different regions, different commodities, different sizes, different climates. And they applied. We took two bills, the RISE Act and the 95.5% Act, which are really Democratic bills that really frame that what President Biden has said he wants to do, impacting capital gains, inheritance tax, and the basis. And what came back is 98 out of 100 farms would see an average increase in taxes at the passing of a generation of $1.4 million. Now the question is, by the way, the only two farms that didn't experience that, they didn't own their own acreage. They rented ground. So they were kind of asset poor. It made sense. So the question is, how much of a farm operation do you have to sell off to get $1.4 million to buy your family farm back from the government and still have a farm at the end of the day? So I'm proud of the work we've done. It seems like it's slowed them down. They're taking a step backwards. I'm hoping we'll be able to defeat this, because if we see, this is going to result in a lot of loss of farms, right? And that's going to lead to food insecurity, and food insecurity is the quickest path to national insecurity.
All right, so the next question I got, I'm going to start with you, Congressman Thompson. It's off in the horizon, but that horizon line's getting closer and closer. Farm Bill 2023 is going to be coming soon. What are we looking at? What kind of topics are already being discussed for that?
Well, it's the kind of things we're going to be talking today and here in Iowa. It's and we're having that discussion. I'm trying to do that all over the country. I will tell you, we're at least 18 months behind in terms of Farm Bill hearings. Republicans haven't been in control. I don't have the gavel, so we can't control what the hearings are on. But that's not to say we're not doing, or we're doing our best. We're going to be talking today with farmers and ranchers and finding out what's on their mind. But it's, starting with, what are the lessons from 2020, from that pandemic that we all lived through? What do we need to do to make the food supply chain, the agriculture supply chain, more resilient? How are the safety net programs, the crop insurance, the dairy margin coverage? How is that doing? That's certainly, safety net is incredibly important. Looking at new markets, what can we do to stimulate new domestic markets for our commodities? And trade is important. So those foreign markets, being at the table, how do we help facilitate our farmers to access that global marketplace? And then you have probably the number one issue coming out of 2020 that most rural families experience, and that was the breakdown in connectivity. When the country went online, we have a digital divide that exists mostly in rural America, where people weren't able to get online, to make that connectivity. I will say I'm proud of this team. Republicans led with a bill here about a month ago or so, and that did morph into a great team effort with bipartisan Republicans and Democrats, and on July 14th we passed a rural broadband bill for America. Would go a long ways of filling that digital divide. But those are that and so much more. The Farm Bill, as there's a lot to it, a lot of different titles, everything that's in there, and including our great land grant universities that are authorized only through the Farm Bill.
Well, that's why I have Ranking Member G.T. Thompson here. I just want to show him everything that Iowa has to offer, because when we start going down the Farm Bill, I truly believe that he'll probably have the gavel in his hand and that he'll be chair of the Agriculture Committee. So working collaboratively like we've done on so many issues this year to get a good Farm Bill, and making sure that we continue to invest in our farming community, but also have protections, whether that be milk, whether that be corn, our different insurances and all this stuff. It's vital for sustainability as we move forward. So I'm looking forward to the hearings, and I look forward to slowly putting this together and having a great bill come to fruition in the next several years.
All right, well, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming by. I do have to ask you each one question that I ask everybody that comes here, and I need to know first. I'll start with you, Congressman Feenstra. This is your home state. What is the one thing that you can't pass up? I mean, what treat that you have to make sure that you get while you're here?
Number one, I always got to have pork chop. It used to be pork chop on a stick. Now it's pork chop in a glove, so you can eat it. And they're so awesome. And I look forward to eating one here in about an hour or so.
All right, how about you, sir?
Well, it's pork chop related, and I'm thinking I'll be able to find it here. It's been a few years since I was here, but they call it that spiral pork chop, and it's wrapped in bacon, so it's the best of all worlds.
All right, well, that sounds good. The congressional delegation from Iowa across the board has come up with some great things. I mean, and one thing Cindy actually did make the observation. She goes for the deep fried Oreo, and she said that state fair calories don't count, so that's a great thing. And I think everybody's agreed that they don't count when you're walking around all over. So thank you so much for coming by and talking with us today, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for all you do for the Iowa farmer.
All right, that is Randy Feenstra and GT Thompson here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network.